Hi everyone, it's Henry and Matt here, and we're going to talk to you a little bit about our new online global painting competition, the Miniatures Painting Open. We wanted to do a short video just to talk through the competition and our reasons behind it, discuss the categories, discuss how you enter, taking photos, judges, all that sort of thing. So you've got it in one place on one video to watch and hopefully understand everything that we think you need to, right?
Definitely.
There's been plenty of questions fired at us since we announced a month or two ago online. So we're going to try and make sure we answer all of these during this video. So with that, Matt, I think let's crack straight into it. Miniatures Painting Open. The open part we should address first. Now, as a sort of caveat to the whole thing, this is a global online painting competition. It's not designed to try and rival an in-person painting competition like a Golden Demon or a Monte Sansovino or something like that. We're aware of the differences between the two formats, but what we want to do is take advantage of what doing this as an online competition allows us to do and sort of celebrate that. And the whole idea of this is to look at all the work that we've all done over this last weird 18 months or so and celebrate the great hobby we've managed to get done. All the stuff you're super proud of and you just want to share with everyone that you can. So to that end, we've chosen an open format for the competition. What does that mean, Matt?
So open format basically means there are multiple winners per category. It's not a first past the post, first, second, third. There will be, like, if 5 people are gold worthy, 5 people get gold. It's basically as simple as that.
Nice. Yeah, it's something we're both quite passionate about. This idea that if the work's good enough, it should get the award.
Yeah.
This ties in as well to we're saying we'd like people are allowed to enter up to 3 times in each category. And the reason behind that is that when you're coming to a painting competition, maybe you've got 2 models that you think are really, really cool. And then you think, oh, but maybe this one's just a little bit better. So I'll enter that one. We want to see all 3 of those, but you will be judged on the best one. So let's say you put 3 models into single mini, 2 are deemed to be silver, 1 is deemed to be gold. You will win a gold award. Nice and simple. And it just means at the end of the day, we get to see more great models, which is the whole aim of this project. And that applies to all of the categories. Within each category itself, there's 2 levels. So masters and standard. How's that work, Matt?
So I understand entering competitions myself. It can be a bit daunting entering when you know some people are putting stuff in as well. So, you know, if you're not like the top of the top painter, it can be nerve-wracking. So we've split it into 2 categories basically, a masters and standard. So if you're like a multi-award-winning world-class painter, you go into the masters and you're facing up against people of a similar level. So if you've won a major competition, so you've placed first, you placed second, you placed third, you'll go into masters. If you haven't won a major competition, or even if you just won a local one, you can go into standard. So you'll be facing off against people of a similar level and trying to keep that level between everyone as fair as we possibly can.
Yeah, definitely. So that coupled with the open format, again, it's to try and encourage people to go, oh, well, so-and-so's entering, what's the point? That's not the point.
Yeah.
You paint your best, you enter it, you show it off, you have fun. If it wins an award, great. But this is as much about being a part of something. This is celebrating what we've all done, as I said, in these last 18 months. And there'll be a few awards within it. But masters and standard, if you're in any doubt at all as to which you should enter, just reach out to us. It's only going to be me or Matt that talks to you about it. A few people have already. And generally what we'll do is ask you to email us some photos of your work, and then we'll have a discussion with you and say, well, we think you should be entering this standard or into masters. You can disagree if you want, by all means. But that'll be our recommendations for how we go forwards.
You can also, like, by all means, enter the masters if you wish to. Like, there's nothing stopping you. If you think you're to that level and you want to really test your painting.
Yeah, if you've been like super under the radar,
like,
you know, wax on, wax off, working on your painting for like a decade, and this is your big, you know,
reveal.
Here I am. Yeah, then yeah, go straight into Masters and wipe the floor with everyone. It'll be wicked. Love a bit of love some stories like that. Anything else to say before we jump into categories?
No, I think that's it really.
Cool. So with regards to the categories, guys, we wanted to keep it as manageable as possible. One of the big ways we've done that is to include sci-fi, historical, and fantasy miniatures are all within the same category. So single mini applies to all of them. Unit applies to all of them. Let's crack on with what we got.
Right, what's up first?
Single mini, the classic,
Yep.
right? This is the one very often best in shows are drawn from. This is for all single miniatures, whether or not they are a character in a particular game system. Doesn't matter. This could be, Primarch Rabute Gilliman. This could be Orc with Spear. Doesn't matter. This is just a single model of up to and including 54mm scale. The vast majority of miniatures that a lot of hobbyists paint, certainly that we interact with, are from gaming companies. They may not be playing games with them, but they're painting them from a gaming company. All of those minis will be 54mm or below. I can't think of a game that has a larger scale on it. So you don't need to worry about that at all. Where it does come into play is with the actual physical size of the model. So something like an Alariel, on her big beetle thing, she's technically the same scale, which is supposedly 28mm, I think. Is that right, Matt?
Yeah, 32 around that.
Somewhere around that. As she's the same scale as a dryad from the same army, little tree person, but she's a significantly larger model, right?
Yes.
And we would place her into the monsters category. And what's the height we're going for, Matt?
So
max height?
Generally, if the model is more than 4 inches in height, if you put a ruler next to it from like the top of the base or plinth to the top of the model, maybe not including like really twiggy spears or stuff like that, more like the head. If it's bigger than 4 inches, it'll go into the vehicle monster category.
Yeah. And again, if you're wondering at all, just reach out and ask us. We want you to be able to enter as many miniatures as you can and get as much from the whole thing as possible. Okay, we're not going to try and stiff you on the day or anything like that. Okay, these two lovely models here by Robin McLeod. To check out Miniatures McLeod on Instagram, and he, I hope Robin will be entering this. He's got some absolute belters this last year. He's been working.
I'll give him a nudge.
Yeah, give him a nudge. Anything else you wanted to say about single mini?
No, I think that's kind of covered it all.
Yeah, lovely. And plinths and bases, they don't matter.
No,
right?
Whatever you
Doesn't
want.
need to be on a base. Can be on as crazy plinth as you like. That's not taken into account for the size and whatnot of the model. Cool. So next category, Matt. Unit. So with unit, we wanted to make it as sort of all-encompassing as possible. This doesn't necessarily mean, a unit of 10 dwarf warriors. It can be any group of models that belong together. So that could be a Blood Bowl team. That could be your D&D party. It could be an Infinity War band. Or it could, like this picture here, it's painted by John Medwell. This is an Iron Circle and Pravian unit. 3 models that do belong together, but they're not perhaps your traditional idea of unit. And with regards to size for this, you can see obviously these robots are pretty big, but things like a Space Marine bike squad, a cavalry unit, they all belong in this category, right? But we're not a tank squadron, right?
No.
Not a vehicle squadron, really. Like bikes are fine, bikes and horses or whatever weird equivalent there is in the now, especially now, some of the models we're seeing, kangaroos, whatever. They're fine, but keep your vehicle squadrons for vehicle and monster. And again, with this, basing doesn't matter.
No.
So if you've got, I don't know, the Fellowship of the Ring, and you've made a lovely scenic base for them all to sit on, like a little diorama for them all to go on, perfect. Happy days. This is where it belongs.
Always go with the rural cool.
Yeah, always. Okay, next category. Large scale and bust. So this is one where you'll see some pretty phenomenal paint jobs, I'm sure. These larger surfaces give people the opportunity to really flex, don't they? So this is for any miniature more than 54 millimeters in scale, which is almost certainly going to be 75 mil, right?
Yeah,
That's
there's not
tends
much in
to go.
between.
There really isn't, is there? And busts of any scale. Again, 3 entries per category. Not really much else to say on this one.
No, it's quite a simple category, really.
Yeah, so Ryan and David's models there, looking rather splendid. I'm really looking forward to seeing how the historicals and the sci-fi and the fantasy all mix in together.
Yeah,
I think it should provide a really nice.
I think that's a good thing with the the open format is it allows these different genres to be a part of the same category without really interfering.
Yeah, they're not competing for space, are they, with each other? So yeah, should be really, really nice. I don't think there's anything more to say on large scale and bust.
It's pretty simple.
Pretty simple, right? It's all pretty simple. And guys, obviously we've given you these details over the last few weeks, but we just wanted to do a little video to present it all and make sure everyone's sort of still on track and looking forward to it. We'll be dropping a few more videos over the next few weeks as we move towards the deadline, the entry deadline. So next category. Vehicle and monster. Some wonderful squigs here. I think this was Christian. I think.
Yeah, Christian Paints.
Sure it was, wasn't it? Yeah, Christian Paints. Lovely bloke, amazing painter. Loving the saliva coming off some of those squigs. Vehicle and monster. It's all the microbeads. It's again exactly what it sounds like. This is where it doesn't just have to be a single tank. If you do have a squadron, we feel, yeah, sure, enter it. If you've got 3 predators or whatever in this, if it's meant to be a set, then absolutely fine, enter it. We don't want to see like an armored spearhead army of stuff. But if it's a handful of models that are meant to be together in a squadron and they are a vehicle, then by all means enter them. And monsters, well, this is your big stuff, right?
Yeah.
This is, as you said earlier, anything over 4 inches in height. But equally, there'll be the odd model that perhaps hasn't got that height, but will certainly have a lot of mass.
Yeah. If it's a
chunky
obvious model, generally this category.
Yeah, definitely. I was saying to Matt earlier, I really hope what we see is, I think a lot of people in their collections and their armies, they'll often spend the most time with their painting and hobbying on the characters. So there's your single mini, usually an elite unit, or there's your unit, and usually the vehicles or the centerpiece giant or the dragon or whatever. So I'm really hopeful that people are going to be able to get to show off their collection. Although it may not be as an army, we'll get to see the very best of what people have been putting together over the last couple of years. It's going to be great, isn't it? This is always a fun one. And again, exactly the same rules with the basing, guys. Whatever you like, on a slotter base, not on a slotter base, on a plinth, whatever. Floating off a magnet.
I'd
Eldar
love to see that.
Skimmer. Yeah,
that was a good one.
I mean, I suppose you just do it in Photoshop, right? It's just flank it out.
I want to see a video of it. Proof.
yeah. Cool. Anything you wanted to add on Vehicle and Monster?
No, that's kind of everything. It's just big models, basically.
Big, gigantic beasties and vehicles and tanks. Lovely. Okay, next category. This is your baby, this one. So
yeah, it's my favourite. So sculpture. Recently, I don't know if it's been an uptick, but a lot more people are sculpting than there used to be in all different sort of scales, and especially in 28mm. So there's not too many competitions that really have just a single sculpting category. I think Monty is probably the only one, or Scale Model Challenge. So I really wanted just a pure sculpting, no paint on the model, just as it is. So
the greens or the prints?
Yeah, the greens or the prints. So it can be a traditional sculpt or it can be a digital sculpt. Traditional, obviously, your milliputs, your green stuff. So submitted in the green, unpainted, basically it. Digital sculpts, we would like to see them physically exist because you can do a lot of funky things with a render that you just cannot physically make. So actually having the model existing as a 3D print is the only way we're accepting it. You can submit renders as an addition to the sculpt, submit, but just a render won't be accepted. It has to physically exist.
Yeah, that's a good call. And again, any scale.
Yeah.
One thing we did talk about with this is we see, or certainly us being Games Workshop fans, we see quite a lot of amazing conversions which are very heavily sculpted, but may contain a handful of pieces that already exist from a range. We're saying that as long as the majority of the model, correct, say 80%-ish,
a decent chunk,
is clearly original, as in sculpted by yourself, that's absolutely fine. If you're going to use the hilt off a sword or a little servo skull or something like that, that's absolutely fine, as long as the majority of the model is your own work.
Yeah, super excited for this one.
Yeah, me too, man. I think we're seeing, say, tons of people doing physical sculpting anyway, but certainly with the accessibility now of CAD programs and sort of 3D printers in people's houses, it's just exploding, isn't it?
Yeah,
and it's really exciting. Yeah, very exciting to see. And final category then, GRIMDARK. These are Benjamin's pictures here from my old club in London. He's got armies done in this style. So cool. Myself and Matt have all the intentions of the MPO being an ongoing competition. We would like to run it, may not be annually, maybe twice a year, may depend on when it's appropriate to run it. We're going to run it. And we would like to add in categories as time goes on, and probably have guest categories with each competition. And one of the categories we felt we wanted to include in this one as the special category was GRIMDARK. GRIMDARK has become a sort of catch-all term for models painted in that Blanchitsu style, so inspired by the artwork of John Blanche. Models in things like games like Ink 28 or AOS 28, Turnip 28. This movement of this exploring the grittier, grimier side of a setting. Not necessarily. And originally, obviously, it started with Warhammer 40,000. But it's now expanded out. As I say, we're seeing it in fantasy settings. We're seeing it in even weird historical settings like Turnip 28 that I just mentioned by Max Fitzgerald, which is a root vegetable-based Napoleonics game. Go and check it out. It's wonderful. We really want to celebrate this style. This is art in miniature form, and it's something that if you've listened to our podcast, we talk about quite a lot. Understandably, this style of miniatures painting or hobbying has not been seen at traditional painting competitions. It's probably very hard to, if you judge this work purely on its technical execution, you're going to miss the point of it. The idea of a piece of GRIMDARK is to evoke a feeling. To that end, this category, use whatever color backdrop you want. I know we said try and keep it neutral with white or gray in the others, but we understand how important they are on these, as is some lighting as well. All sorts of miniatures are applicable for this. It could be a bust from something. It could be a single miniature. It could be a warband. It could be a vehicle. It could be a diorama. Whatever you want. Quite a few people have asked us why there isn't a diorama category. We tried to keep the categories quite tight for this first competition, and we felt that we would reach more people and more people would have models available from the categories that we've chosen. If you do have a diorama and you feel it fits into that GRIMDARK theme, then this is the place for it. We will certainly visit dioramas and jewels in future competitions, absolutely. With regards to the judging for this one, it's going to be a little bit different, and we will talk about that when we come to discuss the judges. As I said, it's a very different style of artwork, and we felt that warranted a different style of judging for it. Still an open format though, so 3 entries, you'll be judged on your best, multiple awards at each level. Anything else you want to add to that one, Matt?
No, I mean, GRIMDARK is very much a feel rather than a specific technique or whatever. It's the emotion that you're trying to capture in the miniature rather than, pristine like NMM or whatever technique. So it's more of a feel.
Yeah, absolutely. And Matt's exactly right there. A lot of people may associate GRIMDARK perhaps with very dirty, grungy, lots of oils and enamels and things like that, like we're seeing here, particularly on the picture on the right. But there's some fantastic proponents of a sort of the GRIMDARK style of side of hobbying that produce much cleaner looking models. People like Jeff Vader or Dave Taylor. Some of those models, those little inquisitorial warbands, would fit right into that GRIMDARK theme. So again, if you're unsure, just reach out to us. But I'm very, very excited. I mean, I picked this category, so I'm very, very excited to see what's happening. Yeah, let's, if that's all the categories, Matt, let's crack on with the entry form.
Yes. So there have been a few questions about how we enter. So on the 30th of April, there will be an online entry form available. We'll be collecting your name, email address, your category you're entering, the title you've given the piece, the level at which you're entering, and you'll be able to upload your images. You will need a Google account to upload images. It's a change in the Google format, so we just have to roll with that. But it'll be open from the 30th of April until the 7th of May, so you have over a week just to get your entries in, basically. And then it'll close on the 7th at midnight.
Yep, love it. And this is all on the Miniatures Compendium /MPO.
Yep,
we'll link it everywhere. You'll be sick of us over the next few weeks. Don't worry, you won't be able to avoid this comp. It's been a very soft launch so far, so watch out. But yeah, the key take home there, really, Matt, is the 7th of May, right? That's your deadline, because there's no point telling people that you can get it in on the 30th of May. Clearly, you get it in on 11:58 on the 7th of May.
You're a minute late.
How you
tough.
That's how you paint to deadlines, right?
Yeah.
Just go right up to it. Yeah, and Matt's behind all of this. Yeah, I'm sure it will run incredibly smoothly.
Yeah, giving myself enough time to process everything.
Yeah, so don't worry about it. Cool. Right, next up, I think, the voting itself.
Yes. So it's initially going to be a public vote. Each category and each level within that category will have a gallery. You'll be able to vote once per category. And so standard level unit, standard level, master's level unit, you'll have one vote for each, basically. And it will basically tally up. It's not the be all and end all, though. It's more of a guideline. And out of those votes, we'll also be able to extract a sort of a people's choice vote. So what do you want to see as the people's choice?
And that will be the miniature or the entry across all the categories, all the entries that's got the most votes will win the people's choice. But as Matt's saying there, it's a guideline. If the judges will look through all of the pieces, and if they feel a piece, for whatever reason, has not got a certain number of votes, or has fewer votes than another piece, but they believe is deserving of a place in the finals, they will put it into the finals.
Yeah.
It's worth saying as well with regards to the photos, Matt touched on it, there will be one photo per entry. It's called the front view, I think. Is that right?
It'll be just the front view. Yeah.
You can submit additional photos for that entry, so the side, the back, whatever. The judges will see those, so they can look at those, and it'll help them, make their decisions. But the public will only ever see the front on image.
It'll only be the front. Having multiple images just becomes an incredible amount of data to process, and I think it might tear my hair out.
I think this is a good choice, man. So work on that golden angle. Guys, we are going to be producing a video all about how best to photograph your miniatures, not just for this competition, but in general. We've seen how important that's become, especially this last year or so, how we can share our hobby with all of the other hobbyists all around the world. And taking a nice photo is a massive help. There's nothing worse than when you spend ages painting a miniature and you want to share it with your friends and you take it and it looks garbage, let's be honest.
Not great.
So we're going to look at that and how you can do that with a camera phone, how you can do that with a traditional SLR or DSLR camera. Lovely. I think that's it for the actual entries. Is that right?
That should be. We're on the judges.
So finally, the judges. I'm sure you're going to recognize these names. Categories 1 to 5, so that's single mini, unit, large scale and bust, vehicle and monster, and sculpture. They will be judged by Andy Wardle and Richard Gray. Both very good friends of ours, both incredibly successful miniatures painters. Some of the winningest miniatures painters around, multiple Slayer swords between them, a bajillion golden demons, and all sorts of other awards. They're also very experienced painting competition judges, which is the reason that we've brought them in. They will look over your work over the weekend. I think we're going to talk about that, are we?
Yeah.
In the next, so we'll talk about how that judging will actually happen. But you say Andy Wardle, Rich Gray, they'll be going categories 1 to 5. For the GRIMDARK category, we, as I mentioned earlier, because it is that different style, we didn't feel it could be judged in the traditional way. So we've brought in 2 guest judges just to judge that category. And this is our friend Rich Marlowe, again, multiple Golden Demon winner, all the rest of it. But he's also a real passionate hobbyist when it comes to the skirmish, insert here, 28 style games. Rich absolutely loves them. He's got his own style. It's absolutely fantastic. I couldn't be happier to have him on board with this. And then lastly, we've got Miggs. So Miggs is from the hobby group called Iron Sleet. I consider him to be one of the forefathers, certainly, if not the sort of primo Blanchitsu, Ink 28, Grimdark, whatever you want to call it, proponents. His work has influenced and created this movement. We're going to be doing an interview with Miggs and talk to him all about it more. But I'm really, really grateful and thankful that he's agreed to come on board and judge this category. So, yeah, I'm just super excited about that. And I hope you guys are as well. So that's your judges. Now, when it comes to the judging or the awards, how are we going about this, Matt?
So with the awards, obviously the judges will have all of the images available to them. Mm-hmm. They will be able to take the time that we've allotted, which I think's a day, 2 days, or something.
2 days. Yeah. So entries will close on
the 7th of May.
Yeah.
Then I will
galleries up for a week.
Galleries up for a week, and during that week you'll have your chance to vote on everything. Choose your best, make your selection on your best ones. But the judges will also be perusing the galleries and saying that needs to go through, that needs to go through. Why has that not gone through? Should go through. After that, after the entry's closed, they have the 2 days for them to make their choices. And they'll have the multiple angles available to them, so it's not just a one view image. They can look at the model with all the images that you submitted to get a more better overview of the piece that you submitted, and then basically go to the awards part.
The awards, that's correct. So correct me if I'm wrong here, Matt, but essentially the public gallery will be up for the week. You can vote on those miniatures up until X time on the Friday. It'll say on the website.
Yeah.
You don't know it right now. At that point, the most popular ones will be shown to the judges. But as you say, the judges will already have looked through all the work and they will have earmarked certain models. So if ones have not showed up in there that they would have expected to show up in those finalists, they will bring those up into it as well. Deliberation over the weekend, and then Sunday evening, British summer time, I don't know, probably 7-ish
evening.
We'll decide on that. Sunday evening, we're going to do a live stream awards ceremony where we'll take a look through all of the awards, all the award winners. We'll show off the different angles of their models, have a little chat about them, and just generally congratulate everyone and just reflect on the competition itself. What we're also going to do is film a separate video with the judges talking about why they have awarded the top entries the golds. Certain painting competitions you go to, you may have the opportunity to ask for direct feedback from one of the judges. If you can, it's fantastic, and we'd always encourage that you do that. Some competitions are simply so large that it's impossible. We had to figure out how we could try and give back with this competition. We didn't just want it to be a gallery of miniatures. Oh, here you go, well done, here's a virtual high five, and off you go. We the heart of what we do is to try and help people enjoy their hobby more. And for some people, the way they can enjoy that hobby more is to enjoy their painting more, and in their minds progress their painting or evolve it. So the way we've decided to address that is have the judges discuss why these top entries got the golds, what it was about those models that elevated them that little bit more. And hopefully from that information, you guys will be able to glean things from that you can apply to your own pieces going forwards. So it's quite important to us, and that's why we want to film it as a separate video, so the judges can really take their time to get the notes across. And depending on how many winners we have, we may end up doing it
Could be a
in
while.
a couple of short videos. Yeah, we're not sure. It might be a couple of shorties, might just be a long old evening video. Was there anything you wanted to add, Matt?
So I was just going to say, I will make a post with the actual timeline. So you'll have your schedule to work to, basically. Everyone will know where things need to be at what point, and
excellent.
Yeah, go from there.
That's it. And as I've said numerous times during this video, guys, if you have questions, just reach out to us. This whole idea of this competition is to inspire each other. It's to share these things that you're proud of that you've worked on with all of these hobbyists from all over the world. This isn't a case anymore of, oh, I live in Australia, I can't get to Golden Demon to show it off. You can absolutely come and show this off. There's no nerves of, oh, I've got to be around tons of people. There's none of this. If you're watching this video, you're able to enter this competition. Okay, we want there to be as fewer barriers as possible. And it is as much about entering and being a part of something as it is coming away with awards for it. With regards to the actual awards, we are working on a little something as a memento for the winners. But we'd also like to invite them on in future episodes of Culture of Paint Stuff when we're discussing competitive painting and competitions in themselves. And obviously, the gallery will be up for as long as Matt pays his website subscription.
Yep. As long as they've got my direct debit.
So yeah, hopefully a long time, and you'll be able to see it. And this will be the first MPO gallery will be on there. All the winners will be on there forever, as it were. So if that's everything, Matt, I think we can wrap it up. Lovely. In the description, I'll put all the important links. Keep an eye on the social media for the photos video, and keep using that hashtag MPO 2021. See what people are up to. One last thing, because people keep asking about it. Matt, I've painted a model and entered it into a competition in 2015. But I didn't win anything with it. Can I enter that model in this competition?
Yes, so long as the model has not won, as in it's not placed first, second or third, or best of show, or any of those places, you can enter it in this competition.
Perfect. We'd love you to enter as newer stuff as possible, though, just because we're keen to see all the cool things people have been working on. All right. So thanks very much, Matt. Thanks, guys, for watching. We look forward to chatting to you more about this over the coming weeks, and looking forward really to seeing the work that you guys have been putting into these entries. So take care, and we'll see you soon.
See ya.